Now we have over in the corner here, we are all books containing thousands of pages, and within each of them lies an irreparable truth. Now, an interesting thing here is the irreparable right there is spelled in caps. So another part of it is that the parable part of that almost looks like it's slightly bigger, as if saying that all of these are symbolic of something else, and you're supposed to derive a truth from each of them. Anyway, for We Are All Books, it's referring to Desmond and the other subjects who have been coming in here, and containing thousands of pages is actually talking about their genetic memories. So we're looking at the genetic memories of the past to read the book, and the truth that we're seeing within those memories is a parable for what is happening. So while those memories may not be perfect to what happened, they symbolize what is going to happen, and that's where the person who is writing all of these is getting most of his information, likely, or he's just going completely crazy. So we can make whatever we want of this, and it could mean anything whatsoever. Let's see here. There's a lot of the 13s here. There's an unfinished 13 over there. I don't know if that's meant to mean anything else specifically. If I could say that word, that would be cool. But I'm guessing it's probably just an unfinished 13 for the Mayan long count right there. It's probably nothing else. It could be something else, but probably not. Anyway, let's see here. We have within Emperor Jiajing's sin and Quetzalcoatl's hunger lies the answers. I believe his name is actually spelled differently, and I'm pretty sure I pronounced that incorrectly. It's like Quetzalcoatl. I always mispronounce Quetzalcoatl, but one way or another, we'll get to where we want to be. So the emperor it's talking about here is an emperor that ruled China during the Ming Dynasty. He was known for beating or executing everyone who disagreed with him during a time called the Great Rights Controversy, which happened in 1524. Basically, in the end, he got his way and controlled everyone through fear of being killed or tortured. And this is possibly a reference to controlling everyone through the satellites. During his time, he also built 3 major Taoist temples in China, which were for the sun, the earth, and the moon. He also expanded the Temple of the Heaven, which may or may not be related to the Assassin's Creed story. It's not very clear. However, I'm going to explain some other things that may relate it even more to the Assassin's Creed story, and we'll get into that. Anyway, he built these temples while neglecting his duties as an emperor, and actually put other people on the throne in his place who didn't do a very good job, but somehow he managed to keep over it for quite a long time until his death. He also later becomes entwined in the storyline, I have found out, of Assassin's Creed through a book called Revelations, as well as an animated short called Embers, explaining that he was technically helped to become emperor within this storyline by the Templars. So he's got a major part in this, and perhaps will play a major role in a future game. We'll have to see about that. Now, Quetzalcoatl, yeah, you know. Anyways, he is an Aztec god, and his name means feathered serpent. Technically, he's probably neither male nor female because he's got aspects of both, but we'll just go with he and continue referring that because we're moving on. Anyway, as he is a flying reptile, which is kind of similar to a dragon, he was actually considered like a boundary maker between the earth and the sky, which once again may refer to the satellites being in the sky. They're kind of the boundary up there, and also a control in their plan. He's also more or less considered the creator of mankind. He actually bled on some bones to create mankind, so interesting religious remarks there. That could also reference the satellites creating a new mankind on Earth, because they're being controlled and changed to something completely different. Now, each Aztec god is related to a cycle of year name within the Aztec religion, and Quetzalcoatl's is Seactil. I'm probably saying that wrong. It means one reed, and it correlates directly to the year 1519. Now, Jiajing's father, or Jiajing, his father died in 1519, so this may point to something happening during that period. I may be reaching for that, but it could be something of importance considering that 1519 is a correlation between these two, which is more or less meant to be the same sentence as far as I can tell here. Now, Jiajing's sin could be many different things, but I'm going to go with the fact that it could be his neglecting his rule and then building the Taoist temples to be of greater meaning. Now, the Aztec Quetzalcoatl actually has a Mayan counterpart who is named Cuauhtémoc. And this Mayan god actually had another god who was in his mouth as he would fly across the sky. And this god was Tohil, which is the god of the sun in Mayan religion. So we could almost say that Quetzalcoatl's hunger could be the sun. And Emperor Jiajing's sin is building the temples in effect because he's not actually taking care of the cities, so that might point to the Temple of the Sun. Now, if we actually look at the map that's spinning around on the globe in the final scene, you guys may have to go back to this. You will see that there is a point on that map that is in China, which could mean that the answer that lies there is actually a piece of Eden. So kind of an interesting thing that gets there in a roundabout way from all of this stuff. Anyway, let's see here. Is there anything else on this wall before we continue on outside of here? I do not think there is. There's going to be lots and lots of talking. I am sorry because this is just going to be the way it is. There's lots to explain. Whoa, camera. Don't do that to me. You're killing me here. Alright, before we go looking at anything else, I'm going to go right here because we've got a nice little eye sitting here. Now, this eye here is the Eye of Horus. However, the personification of the Eye of Horus is an Egyptian goddess named Wadjet. She is also a sun deity that is depicted as a woman with the head of a snake. Now, if we're going back to Quetzalcoatl and his alternative version who has the sun god in his mouth, now we've kind of got a combined version that is not the flying serpent any longer, but is still a serpent and is also representative of a sun deity. So this even more kind of points towards the Temple of the Sun possibly being something very important to everything that's going on. I can't really say for sure, but it's entirely possible. Anyway, let's head on up here. And up here we've got 3 triangles. Now these are probably referring to pyramids, and I'm guessing they are referring specifically to the pyramids at Giza. And the reason that I am thinking this is because if you look on the globe, there is a mark that is in Egypt and is likely referencing the pyramids of Giza. So to that end, we're probably seeing that there is going to be another piece of Eden located at the pyramids of Giza. Alright, let's see here. What else do we have here? I think we've got a nice big old picture over here, if I recall correctly. Alright, so we've got Yonaguni here. Yonaguni is an island that is off the coast of Taiwan, and it has had its sovereignty disputed over Japan, Taiwan, and China alike, even though it's just right off the coast of Taiwan. So technically, if it were me, I would say, hey, that's probably Taiwanese territory, but apparently everyone wanted it. Now, a piece of Eden is denoted in Japan. However, there is no piece of Eden that is denoted off the coast of Taiwan. So what Yonaguni may be referring to is anyone's guess as far as I'm concerned. I have no idea whatsoever about these ones. You can tell me if you happen to know what this might mean. There are lots of guesses online. From what I've heard, there's people who think that there's a piece of Eden here. There's people who think that there might be something here that leads to more pieces of Eden. There could be some kind of secret here. There could be another artifact that is not a piece of Eden whatsoever and is something else completely. I don't know. I cannot really tell you that one way or another. So that one, sadly, I can't explain. Now, we are standing directly over what is a pentagram. Now, this pentagram actually has its origins in Roman culture, and while, yes, in future culture it has been used as a satanic symbol, and also has been used as a Wiccan protection symbol, its original origins from Roman times actually presented as Venus. Now, interestingly, Quetzalcoatl, in his the end of his life, immolated himself for doing something he abhorred, and I won't get into that because you can figure that out yourself. But he became the morning star, which is also known as Venus. So perhaps Venus has meaning to either the pieces of Eden or some other artifact altogether. I do not know, but there's 2 references possibly to Venus based on these 2 things, so not really sure about that one. It's very interesting, and I can't be sure about it. I'm going to wait to look at that thing that's on those stairs, and first we're going to look at this. Now, this is kind of hard to see because of everything being in the way. I'll try to get a better view here, but these mountains here and what is probably a valley, while a very crude drawing, might be a reference to Machu Picchu. And that temple over there, temple-looking thing, which I will go look at now, is kind of a Mayan-looking temple or whatever. But in Machu Picchu, there is actually one of these particular temples, and because it is very close to that particular drawing, it's quite possible that this is indicative of the piece of Eden being in Machu Picchu. If you look at the globe, there is actually a very good possibility that it is in Machu Picchu based on the dot that is glowing there. Alright, let's head over this way. And we shall now look at all this stuff in the corner. There's actually 3 things over here. So first of all, we've got a nice little spider. We've got a monkey over there. And we've got this messed up looking thing, which is supposed to be a hummingbird, but you got me how that becomes a hummingbird from that mess. I think it looks better in real life. This actually refers to the Nazca Lines, which is down in Nazca, Peru. Now, Machu Picchu is also down in Peru. A few people have said that these being here means that there's a piece of Eden here, and I beg to differ. Based on the map, at the very least, there could be a piece of Eden that is just not on the map, but I can tell you this for a fact, that where the Nazca Lines are is not where it's denoted on the globe in that final scene. So I'm guessing more along the lines that there's a different artifact here, or this points towards the artifacts at Machu Picchu, which are probably a couple hundred miles away, but pretty close to this in relation to other things that are around. Alright, let's go over here and check out these. So this is the Borromean rings. What these rings are about is all 3 rings are linked at any given time. However, if you remove any one of the rings, any one whatsoever, then all of the rings become disconnected. They are all unlinked because none of the rings are actually directly linked to each other. This isn't technically possible with actual circles. However, in real life, we are capable of doing this with rubber bands or any sort of thing that's not quite a real circle. Now this is going to be related possibly to some other things that I'm going to explain in a minute here. I just have to get around to figuring out where the hell they are on this place. I know that part of it is right there, but the other part of it, I am forgetting where it is, but I will explain my meaning soon enough.